Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay Moore.
This is Greg Cruz.
This is Dan.
This
Stone.
is Dexter from The
This
Offspring.
is Nathan
This
East.
is Sebastian Younger.
This is David Labb.
This is Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick
I'm
Gillette.
Krista
This is
Vernoff.
Dr. Bob Greenberg.
I'm Laird Hamilton.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, I'm Mark Valley.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
Hey, welcome. This is Joan Collins. You are on the Break It Down show, but we're renaming it Break It Down.
Break it
Joan.
down. Break it down, Joe.
Joan breaks it down.
And now, the Break It Down show with John Leon Guerrero, Mark Valley, and Pete A. Turner.
I am a senior visual effects producer and producer of features, AR, VR, AR, MR, XR.
Is there really an MR?
You are a what R?
An MR? Is that really?
Mixed reality.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like what we're doing right now.
Nice. Yes. Yeah, this is Pete. I'm solo and doing the Santa Monica Pier walk thing because I love this idea. So all of you that are out there freezing, marine layer burned off here. It's February 9th, 10th.
I know. There is a wind chill factor. We're about 74 degrees in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Walking through most of Santa Monica, trying to stay away from traffic today.
Yes.
We'll be walking by the tourists, however.
So you are fascinating, and you've done a lot of things.
I have.
Worked on a zillion projects.
Yes, I have.
And I also have a technology podcast called Popping the Bubble, which everyone should listen to. But we talk about augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, a new one I didn't know about. But how does this stuff play into your role? What do you bring to the producer that needs your skills?
Well, I am an odd animal in that if it has been done before, I will point you to the 20,000 other people who can help you with that. If it's never been done before, that's when I perk up and you get my attention. I have been reading a lot of scripts. I was known in the day for being able to break down a script overnight. Hence, I've been breaking down scripts. But that was more for visual effects.
Okay.
And of course now, we're in a wind tunnel.
Yeah, a little windy.
I know. Freezing. Now I'm taking scripts and breaking them down to see what all you can do with it. Going into the all media category and also looking at scripts and saying which scripts should maybe be left on the shelf.
Okay.
Or redone totally.
What stands out? Like, what's a rule for you? And you're like, oh, this is going to be a problem. What triggers that?
If I can't get past the second page, that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, in a well-crafted story.
There's well-crafted. I just did a read that was the easiest read I've ever done. Just went straight through. But I'm, looking at projects that, I've done the horror films. I've done gross them out, scare them, knock them off their socks, crying, sad. I've done all those genres. And now I'm really looking for, projects that, for a sucky word, better the world.
Right.
Do have something more to offer than just
a thrill ride. Yeah,
I mean, again, that would be in the category of 20,000 other people who can help you with that.
Right.
I've found a couple scripts where, actually, they kind of found me. Someone said, this is a children's animated movie, and I thought, are you kidding me? This can't just be children's animated. You have to do feature too. And so, hence the development of all media. So you look at a project now and you think, what all can it be?
Yeah.
So it can be a feature, it can be animated, it can be a musical, there can be an AR component, there can be a VR component, and I like to just produce them all at once and roll them out all at once. Some scripts just don't lend themselves to having a VR component.
Okay.
But I think all scripts should be re-looked at for this new media component part of it. We looked at an animated script just last week and thought, this has got to be changed up and made more live action with a VFX component to it as opposed to just animated.
Right.
Doing the Hamilton musical along with the theatrical, but using the same kind of actors and voices on, overlap.
Right. So talk a little bit about because all this extra R stuff, all this new media,
Right.
not everybody has a grasp of it. I'm not going to act like I do, so I definitely am learning. But what is augmented reality in a movie? When have we seen that?
I don't know that it has to be in a movie, but you should, just like how you just said it, it should be thought of as all of the paintbrushes that you have in your kit should be on the table when you're looking at something.
Okay.
So just because you can do it doesn't mean you use that paintbrush. Not everything fits in VR. Just because you can swing the camera around 360 doesn't mean it has anything to do with the story you're telling.
Right.
However, the story you're telling could make a beautiful feature if you had your A-list actors involved.
Okay.
And if you paid your A-list actors a little bit more, like a lot more, you can get these short vignettes of VR within a lot of the scripts. Like My Dinner with Andre kind of section where there's a volumetric camera that goes all the way around the table. Just that portion.
Tell us what a volumetric camera does.
Tell us what a volumetric camera does. Here we are by City Hall in Santa Monica
There
by
it
the
is.
seagulls.
It's lovely. It's a little Art Deco kind of thing.
Totally, as long as the seagull keeps flying by us. Volumetric is when you have the cameras are on the edges of all of the room, and you shoot in, and it grabs the whole volume, and then afterwards, the director, or if it's set up correctly, the viewer can then go anywhere in the scene.
I got you. Okay.
It doesn't allow you to change the actors' lines or interact with them.
Right.
However, there's ways that you can set up things interactively as well. Like, say there's a mad scientist doing an experiment in the lab. You can have a volume of the lab, but you could have also perhaps the mad scientist as a digital character.
Okay.
You could go way down the road into the future, like in tomorrow. Think of that character as interactive. You can think of that character as something you can ask any question at all, and there's answers that come back at you, or you suggest maybe the experiment should be done a different way, or...
So this can be, let's say there is a lab in a movie. It doesn't have to be within the frame of the movie. This can be additional content.
I would suggest do the feature first so that you can get your A-list actors.
Right.
Otherwise, just because you throw it down to B and C level doesn't mean they can act the shit out of it and make someone want to watch.
Yeah, so you have the movie, it's created, but you want to create extra content based on this fascinating lab, and maybe it's someone like Q from James Bond, and then you've seen the movie, but now you can go back to Q's lab and interact with Q.
And it's really Q.
Okay, right, yeah, it's really John Cleese or whoever.
I mean, you can, this is why you have to read the script and make everyone go away and think of everything that can be done with it, but not apply everything.
Okay.
If it doesn't work.
Nice.
You don't push VR on it if it just doesn't make sense.
Like the old 3D days when they take the finger and they'd stick it into the crowd. Like that's all you get out of 3D.
I know, that's the same metaphor right now with VR. Just because you can, do a VR concert, and just because there is an audience behind you.
Right.
Doesn't mean you look at the audience once and then you don't care about the audience.
Right, okay.
You still expect the director to film a sweet spot for you to look at.
Right.
And as long as you're doing the sweet spot to look at, I won't make you run to make it across this road.
Yeah, we got time.
I could do it. No, I still don't think we'll run. We'll go. We'll do our sweet little.
Okay.
So don't let Pete get hit.
All of the realities as you use these things, and we'll use the movie platform. So the movie exists, and you want to do a VR setting where you talk to Q in his lab, but you could also augment that reality. You can also mix realities. Talk a little bit about how you would maybe mix reality in this movie.
I would use the mixed portion in a more of a live setting.
Okay.
So that, let's say Q now is digital, and you've got him somehow projected on 45-degree angle piece of cellophane,
Right.
that old Tupac trick.
Right.
But then you also add another element, which is something that perhaps you are seeing in your AR glasses, or that is something that is interactive, where either the real actor on stage, or it's more of an intimate setting where you are interacting with said character. And I mean, it can go pretty elaborate. Like,
Right.
really mixed would be, it's so interactive that in real time they're detecting what language you're speaking in,
Okay.
what education level you have,
Wow.
and it's answering at that level back to you.
Right. Okay.
That would be possibly a more intimate setting, but I think we should, keep our eye out and look for and see what can apply to which project to make it interesting.
Right.
And try not to take on, projects where it's just a love story with two people that could be anybody telling it.
Yeah.
Again, that would be, let me introduce you to 20,000 other people who could do that for you.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So you get a movie like When Harry Met Sally, and there's a character that's, I'm trying to think of some kind of character like this, but they steal. Elton John in Kingsman, he absolutely steals that movie. You could have a whole bunch of extra content created around the Elton John character of Elton John in the movie.
But Elton, I would never necessarily take digital. Into a digital character.
Okay.
He has such a performance quality to him.
Oh,
He
okay.
live is, I wouldn't remake him. Some character like Harry Met Sally, just even Sally Fields, I would never recreate.
Right. Okay.
She's so present, and
Yes.
it would be someone that you would want to interact with.
Yeah.
And people who, especially that do comedy, you don't want to be messing up their timing. It's not funny anymore.
I'm so glad you said this, because one of the ideas that we're working on, and I'll put it out there because we've not done it yet, and we intend to, but if someone else can get there, I'd rather see it done than not done. Mm-hmm. But Steinway does like these Playboy caliber interviews, really, really good interviews.
Right.
And this is Steinway, right? With Bill Murray. Like you had Bill Murray alone for 90 minutes, and you chose to capture him written on a page. That's not how you sell pianos.
Nah.
Right.
Nah, you wouldn't mess with that performance.
Right. You want them in front of a camera.
I have been asked, there's a lot of things I've been asked, and they're still under non-disclosure. But let's say, some musician that's dead.
Right.
And someone wants to bring him back to life. And
Right.
you're thinking, I'm not going to make up his performance.
Right.
You got to, show me the performance and I'll extract it somehow. But I'm not saying how that guy played piano or played guitar or whatever. That was his performance. That's what made it good, was the liveness of the person.
His choices, his things. Like Prince at the Super Bowl, when they talked about him playing with Justin Timberlake. That's tough to pull off. Yeah, we know what Prince looks like and does.
I've done so many concert tours myself. I have such a big concert background. I have been 3 feet away from Prince, where I was right below and he was on stage right there, and he came out, and it was like, having sex with Prince right there. You can't make that up. I mean, that guy is completely engaging. He just barely glances you a look in the audience, and you think that whole song is right to you. He's talking to me.
Yes.
And, I did Sheila E.'s drumsticks on that concert tour. There's just that would be one you would just not touch.
Right.
Though he's got some songs that are just sitting down in those archives that I'd like to, suggest people go look at.
Right. Yeah, get into the archives and pull things out and see what you can make.
Yeah.
But again, when you look at those things that have happened, like, we just found this secret Jimi Hendrix tape that no one's ever done. No thanks. Like a lot of that stuff, just especially back then when it was so hard to record quality things. You're like,
hard to record quality things can be enhanced and made better to look at, but you wouldn't change their performance.
Right, yeah. And not every performance is worth consuming, I guess, is what I get from, Jim Morrison in a bar drunk singing. Like,
that could be good.
Well, but when it's not, like, you have to sell it because he's not making any new songs.
Right on.
Yeah, okay, so Bill Murray trying to sell Steinways in spoken word written on a page, not the way to do it.
After 2 margaritas.
After 2 margaritas. The musical thing is a big deal. So if you deal in concerts, there's, some acts, like I saw the Lumineers open for U2, and,
right on.
And they're a great band, but they're not a performance band, if you will.
Right.
It's very straightforward, and partly because they're an opening act.
Well, no, but you brought up U2. Now, that's part of this whole mixed reality thing.
Yeah.
Wherein, let's say there was a feature, and now, for whatever reason, part of the feature had a musical element to it that you want to put out on tour.
Okay.
Let's pretend like we're not jaywalking.
Okay.
We don't want our public to do what we do, only what we say. The current technology of pixels themselves,
Right.
or little LEDs, can be at any resolution. Of course, you know about 8K, 16K, 57K.
Right.
There's curtains of pixels you can use. There's micro tubes. With
U2 had that stage with the curtain situation. It was a scrim, but it was also a thing, and they used it wonderfully.
Well, that's them. Anyone can think in terms of the images and stories they're making is just a pile of pixels.
Okay.
And where do you want them? It's just like VR. Where do you want the sweet spot?
Okay.
It's just like mixed reality. Who are you interacting with? Is there a set or a background?
Okay.
If you're doing U2, you got to think large.
Yeah.
There is, got to be a pile of pixels that takes up half of the Rose Bowl.
Right.
But that's the way I think I would rather think large, really large, and do all of these things all at once.
Is that the way? I mean, U2 does a great job of this. I mean, it's one of the reasons they're such a powerful or mixed media group.
There you go with that mixed word.
Right. So are other bands taking this thing? Or are they going? I mean,
well, they
U2's
have
got
to
an enormous budget.
It all comes back down to good content.
Okay.
If they have hit songs, probably because they're popular or good,
right?
For some reason, there's a lot of people that are out there right now that are really, really good, but they play to an intimate audience.
Right.
Even like some of Gaga's songs should still be done, to 800 people. They don't necessarily play on a Rose Bowl stage.
We have a mutual friend, Joan Collins, who's working on this VR approach to taking that 800-person venue and opening it up to 500,000 people who have a subscription online, which I think is a great idea.
That's the buzzword of the day, direct to consumer.
Direct to consumer. But that experience then, when you are in the VR headset and you're looking at Lady Gaga and you can walk right up next to her and experience her like right there virtually.
That would be awesome. The world would love that.
Right. Is that...
Coulson is doing something even more interesting. And something we haven't touched on yet, which is the AI portion of this whole thing.
Okay.
He's using artificial intelligence to help your experience.
Okay.
There's that interactivity part where the thing you're looking at is responding to what you're doing or giving it to you faster, challenging you.
Right. You're performing in conjunction with Lady Gaga.
Well, no. That was one of those things you don't touch. You don't leave the piano alone.
Leave it alone.
Don't touch. No, you can look, but don't touch. But again, so Gaga, why would you just want to walk around her?
Right.
It has to be. There's got to be other content. Well, there's other things too, like sports,
right?
Which are lovely to be interactive and have that little bit of AI attached to it.
Yeah.
And the same thing with understanding what language you're speaking can have a little bit of AI attached to it. So again, you think of that as another paintbrush in your toolkit. When you look at any script or any idea, you think in terms of everything you could do to it, and then be intelligent and know what you shouldn't do to it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the too much. Like, I'm an over flipper when I barbecue.
Yeah.
I've been trying to break that habit for as long as I've been barbecuing, and I just can't stop flipping.
I've been hearing a couple scripts too that come by saying we're going to do this. It'll be the greatest. It's $100 million. I'm like, no, that's an $8 million script. No one is going to look at that. get real. So there's people that oversell.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like, dating. You got to know when half the people that you meet are really not normal.
Right.
And you shouldn't just believe everything they tell you.
Right. Okay, so someone has a project, right? And they want to figure out how to mix their realities together. And they want to come to you to see, which of the 20,000 people, or is this,
well, here's
in your sweet spot?
They wouldn't know.
Okay.
They wouldn't know to go find out which other realities exist. You would start with knowing all the realities.
Okay.
And then start looking at your content. If they knew about me, they probably already know a lot. And they would come to me, because they knew what I knew. Other people that don't know all about the realities or computer graphics, interactive techniques would not come to me. There's a lot of people that stumble onto me. But I do not put my name out there. I do not promote. You got to know I'm out there.
It's just sort of a thing. Because when they're coming to you, they're already coming to you with an idea. And they know that there's some money attached to this idea. It's not like, what do you want to do? We'll go find money.
But I have also been the one finding the money, because I've been the one that actually knows, again, how to break down scripts.
Right.
Actually know what things actually cost.
Okay.
And so my budgets are more believable.
Yeah.
So when I do a breakdown of, hey, we're going to do all of this all at once.
Yeah.
That comes with 3,500 pages worth of backup information.
Wow.
So you can sit there and, ask me any question you want, and this is how it's going to go down.
Right.
If they approve a budget, then, you also have to know where all the bodies are in the world. And, you can't really pull them out of studios, but they're all over the world. You don't have to have them all in the same place until you get down to the initial startup creative process. You got to have them all in the room at the time for that creative meltdown.
When you're trying to figure out a multi-million-dollar budgeted movie, and you're saying, I'm going to put this time into this, obviously you've done this a lot, and people come to you for that. Yeah. But how do you know? Like I used to be handyman with John, one of the co-hosts, and I can look at a job and I go, that's going to take 10 man hours, so I'm going to have to charge you $500, but I got to charge you an extra 10% because there's always weird ass shit that I can't account for, or I'm not thinking of right now that'll be obvious later.
Now, Pete, we call that whining.
Uh-huh.
If I see something that's exciting, I know what I have to do, and I turn the phones off.
Okay.
And I just jump in and do it. If I have any fees, it's a pass-through onto the very first initial cash flow payment. I don't say, to break this down, it's going to cost this much, because then I say I need 5 hours. Right. I, can sit down for a week, 2 weeks, phones off. Just plowing through and making 500 pages later, this is what we should do. No, there's no way I would be able to know in advance how long it's going to take. Okay. I don't want to report to anybody. What are they going to say? No, you got to do it in 20 hours. Right.
Yeah. That's the next thing I was going to say is whenever I say this is going to take 10 hours, someone always wants to object. But
no. If you know what you're doing, you don't let people tell you how much time it's going to take.
Okay, if we get done early, then great. We'll talk about a break on the price. But let's be honest, this is going to take 10 hours, and this is why I know this. And then I would explain it, and they'd be like, you know what? I'm done thinking about it. Just do it. Yeah. So I get that piece of it. So, okay, you break down these enormous projects into tomes. That's nice. Does someone actually read this stuff, or is it just like this is you showing your work?
It does get a little overwhelming when I first do the initial dump. Boom, there it is. What the hell? Yeah. Because there's the finance plans, there's the the cash flows, there's everything in there. We need your equity account set up today. Yeah. It does get overwhelming. That's why I'm in LA, because there's a lot of people here that understand what I'm talking about. Okay. And generally, just like I'm talking to you, you talk it through. Right. Okay. You try to not be intimidating. That's what this means. I know you want to do it that way, but
reality is
you have it a little bit in the wrong place, and this is why. Okay. Because everything we thought about before last Thursday, let's just throw that all away.
Creative people especially have a tendency to want to change things and update things, and that sucks.
That's when you get into production. Right, okay. And you say no.
Okay. This is already a plan set up.
This is what we're doing, and no.
Let me ask you this. One of the ideas I have in terms of mixing reality or media is movies have websites, and they do a lot of teasing on that website. I suggest, Lions Rock Productions suggests, that there should be podcasts leading up to the movie. Not necessarily about the plot line, but maybe like in the vein of making of, or, just interesting people to feature, and then you're putting content on your website so that it's not just a trailer, it's not just coming soon, there's actually stuff to consume there. Because I think when people want to see a movie, they're interested in doing some research about that movie, or, I'm interested in this person,
Right on.
And there's characters out there that are on every movie set.
There's schedules I put out in advance of everything, of like when you can have anything to do a teaser with, and when you can have anything to do a trailer with.
Right.
Trailers are more like, 4 months in advance.
Right.
6 months in advance. Little teasers of, kind of a couple of the characters here. Oh, yeah, maybe we cast these people.
Right.
But very little comes out. However, in the tool brush.
This episode of the Break It Down Show is brought to you by Lions Rock Productions.
That's us.
We publish, evaluate, and develop podcasts just like this one, consult others to build their own, and create associated content and content marketing strategies.
So if you're launching or expanding your social media presence, your business, or your personal brand, or if you just want to take your media presence to the next level,
reach out to us on Twitter
at Pete A. Turner
or at JohnLG69
at the Break It Down Show.
There's 1,000 ways to get a hold of us.
Now enjoy the show.
Paintbrush category of things that you should think about when starting up these events is the training of younger people.
Okay.
So I am thinking about always making sure, this has been done the last couple of years, and I'm really, really proud of it, where if it's a feature with live action, you fill the audience, a little auditorium up with 400 students to get a watch. You have to tell them, shut the hell up while we're doing this. You're here to watch.
Shut the hell up.
Yeah. You're here to learn. So this is what we're trying to do. This is called a read through. They're not really acting, but we're doing timing. We're discussing if that should be here or not. So, letting them watch is cool. And I like your idea of not necessarily having them all there live,
right?
Sniffing and doing whatever else they have to do, kind of disturbing the actors. I like it possibly as a voyeur kind of a situation online. There's things you can do to tease that are actually helpful, and I think that should be added into the old toolkit.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's a tease aspect, and there's also like when you watch the 12-minute interview on Jimmy Kimmel, he does a great job, and he's a wonderful interviewer. But I'm always left going, but I want to hear more from Nicolas Cage or whoever it's going to be that they're talking to. Right. And I don't need to know about the movie. That's fine. And when they show the clip, it's never any good anyhow.
Come on!
I don't know. They're like, I think I'm talking to the nurse, and then they show me, like, sure enough, they're talking to a nurse, and you're like, yeah, cool. But shut up. I want to hear from you. I'm fascinated by you, Nicolas Cage, right? And so to sell the movie, I want Nicolas Cage to become more my friend, right? Not
the whole world wants that. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, but being able to talk to him more enables us to go, this is an interesting guy. He can talk about how he portrays the role.
Oh, true. Or why he came to this part and why he thinks the part is cool.
Yeah, not the plot.
What soap he used in the shower that morning, that's not going to happen.
No, unless there's product placement money. But I do see the world going more this way, where there's these auxiliary realities, right? Like you're in a hallway for this movie has this thing, and it's like, oh, by the way, here's the 20 hours of content we created for this podcast that you can continue to revisit. You're like, God, I just can't get enough of this episode.
That's true. The podcasts live on. I think that's a great thing. Right. And again, you're witnessing the how many different things can happen all at once.
Right. Yes.
And that is the all media. What all should you be doing all at once?
Right.
Aspect, and thinking through all of the money needed for all of those things, as opposed to, start it up and we're designing sets.
Right.
We should be training people. We should make a trailer.
So many things.
We should also been doing the volumetric and the VR right now.
Right.
And all these extra, if you're hearing wind, it's because we're about ready to jump into the water.
We're actually on a boardwalk.
Not kidding you.
Yeah. So I sometimes record with Jay Moore when he does his show. I back up, engineer for him sometimes. And he had Edward Solomon on. I'm talking about his new project. I think it's on Showtime, where it's a matrix of characters, and you can watch things from each of their points of view as they experience, the TV show or whatever. And so it really changes that. And then shooting off of that would be smaller segments, almost kind of like in like the reality TV world when they do the pull out and the person sits there in front of the mirror and they talk, but now you do that in podcast form.
Right.
So there's definitely...
I think that the TV, the series, the webcast, all that can go a lot more interactive.
Yeah.
And have a lot more all media added to it that happens all at once, like you're talking about. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Like if you took Pulp Fiction and actually created 2 hours of content on each little character line, you get to see what, Jules and Vince did. And yeah, the timeline's all weird and everything because that's how he does it.
You could see Uma Thurman actually get in a car wreck and actually have that footage released all at once.
Boy, yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Why? Yeah.
Keep it truthful. Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah, boy.
Not.
That extra reality stuff, the mixed reality, it does open up a lot of areas for content. And I think you can do that for a reasonable amount of money, considering what you get out of it in terms of people that love the movie are going to continue to consume it.
I think you're right also because the camera equipment has become smaller, and quicker to set up. Volumetric does not take that long to set up. VR certainly does not.
Right.
As long as you plan it all in advance of everything you want to do.
Right.
So I would encourage everyone to, jump into a minimal understanding of all the realities.
Yes.
But don't throw away your paintbrushes of yesterday. You still have to know that throwing a little Vaseline on the lens cover will give you a soft focus.
Yes.
Yellow ochre is still your first, undercover paintbrush stroke.
Right. You still have to let Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep do what they do.
You don't touch Tom Hanks.
No, you don't touch Meryl Streep. You just write the words.
Yeah, they'll write their own script.
Yeah, they take care of that part. You're right. You can't forget those things. Let me ask you, I'm going to change gears and let's talk about the future a little bit.
Oh, yay.
I was just at the NAMM show, which is the National Musical Convention
right
for
on.
all those people. And it's an event. It's epic. And they're talking about the reality that AI, artificial intelligence, augmented intelligence, is going to be creating and composing music. Whether, I have a musical, I know, but, it is coming. And,
well, I know, but it's been talked about for quite a long time.
Okay.
And you still need the human involvement because it's essentially like letting Slated kind of build your cast for you online because we used AI. It's just because it might push some ideas to you. It's kind of like a writer's room or give you ideas, but the human is still 300 million times more powerful than AI, essentially, in the creative category. So just because, it helps you, I don't think it is the final. Yeah.
But is it one of the things is like the things that composers do that are, I don't want to say mundane because composing is never mundane, but let's be honest. Some of the stuff is fairly simple. Like you can say,
let's say you're Backstreet Boys. pick 5 words, do them over and over.
Yeah, lots of hooks, right? And we know that scientifically that works. So that goes to the AI thing. But you grab the composer and you're like, hey, we're gonna have a walk down a beach. I need some background music for that. That music's been written 100 times.
Well, let's talk about walking down.
Okay.
There was the whole Justin Timberlake thing walking in, and AI could have really helped the mix, not necessarily what he was saying, what he was singing about, any of the visuals. They're all stunning. The lighting was perfect.
Right.
But just because you added a sound effect to his voice, your mix was cramping down the top and bringing up the bass, and it smooshed his voice during most of it.
Right.
And you got some necessarily not great reviews, but a lot of it is because people were looking at everything else. They couldn't hear Justin's words.
Right.
It was stomped on.
Yeah.
AI could have said, "Oh, let's just readjust that for the stadium."
Right. Okay.
That would have been helpful.
For sure, for the stadium, yeah.
Yeah, because it's every venue is different, right?
120,000 people in the Rose Bowl
It might have
equals this mix.
It might have sounded better for the stadium than it did for coming to the people live.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that in movies, too, where the way you did the final color for the movie, and then the DVD or what it came across your TV or your, God forbid, you're watching it on your notepad or iPhone.
Right.
The colors are contrasty and and it actually stomps on the story.
Yeah.
AI could possibly, and I would suggest this strongly for futurists, could help adjust that more better.
Yeah.
For whatever you're listening to.
There's a lot of benefit to that, too. Like 2 years ago, the Mariah Carey thing, where the work in advance, the something was up with it, whether it was on the backstage end or the Mariah Carey end. But that stuff doesn't have to happen, where the track is not, something's wrong with something. And she's like,
costume?
No, it wasn't her costume. It was the she was singing over a track, which
apparently
surprises everybody. But it's like, no, this is not the kind of event where you're actually like, she may sing, but there's not going to be a band.
No, there's always magic involved with everything. It's like this is why people go to live events, is to see a little of the magic slopped on top of it.
Yeah,
and that's what we do, is we sprinkle the magic on. You don't know how it was done.
Right.
You don't know how to explain it.
Yes.
But it was good. But like with the Justin thing, you also don't know how to explain why it seemed hard for you to like. It was because the mix got stomped on.
Right. Yeah.
But you don't necessarily know that.
Right. You don't know it. Yeah.
Yeah. So when going out to all media, you have to know that this is going to notepads. This is going to people's little iPhones or their whatever they're listening to in the car. You're not supposed to be doing that, people. And all of the platforms have to have serious thought for sound and picture.
Right.
Or in the category of you shouldn't do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that you have to account for these things. So is there another person like you who's like an all media person who says you've got to manage this and you have to consider these other media angles?
They are few and far in between. There's definitely people who do a handful really, really well. There's definitely billions of people who can do a feature. Lots of tons and tons that can do animation, including now in Vancouver, Canada, and all over China.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you can't use the globe now, the entire globe, for production. And I think there's a lot of people everywhere. South Africa, Germany.
Right.
There's some great people in Russia that, are actually doing pretty good particle work. We share a space station with them. But there's, people are people.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of people that understand all the realities?
Yeah, okay.
They just haven't put themselves into thinking big.
Right, okay. Yeah, all of the realities. So as you do, as the work is democratized and you can go to some guy in India on his laptop who can mix the heck out of something, you still have to have someone that manages all of that.
Yeah. That's why I do still like to post in Los Angeles, where all the elements come back to you, and you approve them, in a group of 5 people in, Deluxe or Technicolor, someplace cool. On the lot, Sony, someplace that has enough screens for you to look at it, have enough compute power to hold all of the media you just created.
Right.
Enough sound systems that can let you hear it in theater, and what, all the mixes are going to be. Yeah. That's also few and far in between.
What's coming what are other things that you see, you like get a sense of like, ooh, I'm hoping that somebody figures this part of the creative concert movie media world. What's interesting to you?
Well, now that we've figured out features, we have that one down. Now that we understand visual effects, I think we got that one down too. I don't know how many more Marvel movies or Star Wars movies we have to do. Jeez. They're just kind of fun for the young ones who haven't seen it.
Okay.
So we still need to have positive thoughts for our young ones.
Okay.
And positive for everybody. But golly, there's that whole big, huge blue sky that you can't see out of, that we should rip that sky open and let people more easily see the whole universe.
Right. Okay.
That's way far more exciting than any movie you can make about any love story here on the planet.
Right.
And people don't have to understand it.
Okay.
They can see it and just go, wow.
All right.
But if we can do 8K, we can make a screen for people to come see, that's the size of 3 football stadiums looking up.
Right.
Doing a 12-hour movie of the universe going by. And, of course, it moves kind of slow.
It does move kind of slow. And there's no cartoon characters. I need cartoon characters.
No, but, I mean, even just throw down a hotel lounge on the bottom and let people just look up at the sky and do whatever it is they do. But I think we got to show it to them big.
Yeah,
it's got to be bigger. And I think the whole planet, now that we have everybody hooked together, we should put everybody's minds to just that.
What's bigger? Like
ripping open the sky, check out the universe.
Right. Like I guess I'm saying, what is bigger? Like what you think is big right now is infinitesimal compared to what could be.
Yeah.
If you rip open the sky.
I mean, yeah. Well, there's definitely the cool factor of going around and a nebula going around, a pulsar going around, just even our galaxy.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's far distant galaxies out there for real, not just pinhole star fields in a Star Trek movie.
Right.
It's gorgeous sound. And then, little by little, let's get into dark matter. And gosh, there's dark matter here on the planet. I know. I feel a little plutonium as we go by here. Now, we really, truly are on the pier in Santa Monica. We've survived.
We have survived.
I didn't make you do stairs or hills.
We are going to do this hill,
yet.
I did it yesterday, and I had to go, listen, I'm huffing and puffing because I'm walking up this little incline here.
Oh.
But it's all right, though. Let's do it.
All right. We're doing it.
Because we're walking on the Santa Monica Pier. And,
yeah.
And we're rounding the bend here in our hour. So first off, let me thank you for that. And
we're
thank
not.
You for
I don't think, since you actually went all the way down there yesterday.
Yeah.
Let's get you back up here.
Yeah.
So that we can round out this hour nicely.
Yeah.
Y'all can talk to me anytime you want.
Oh, no, for sure.
I am out there. This interview doesn't just go away.
Right.
And I will push y'all towards the future. That's what I wake up for every morning.
Yeah, let's talk about this a little bit. I mean, obviously you're notable and you do a lot of things, but it's not something that's front and center. Like you work underneath Prince to make Prince do what Prince does. But
that was awesome.
No, that sounds great. Folks can find you on LinkedIn, of course.
Yeah, but I don't put up everything I've done.
Sure.
I'm pretty vague about what I do because, everything I've already done, I don't want to do it again. But I do like looking at a ton of ideas.
Uh-huh.
And, real people that know how to be creative.
Right.
All over the world. Excuse us, we're just coming through here. Sort of. Gosh, you're keeping up with me going up the hill.
I do quite a bit of walking. Look at me.
I'm looking at you. We're looking at Pete today.
Yep. Me wearing a backpack walking. I've done that a lot.
You are carrying the whole production truck on your shoulders.
It is.
I think I'm being kind to you.
I guess, we can keep talking, or you can turn the mic around and ask me a couple questions if you want. Sometimes folks do that. What do you want to cover next?
There's computer graphics, interactive techniques, concerts, archiving. Make sure that anything you write down is archived if you're...
What about like the album concept? Is there room to expand that? And
Wait, are you saying vinyl?
Yeah, vinyl or... It's
vinyl. It's a tool brush.
Yeah.
It's like yellow ochre. It's a little Renaissance.
It's a little natted. You're like, this brush has a few less bristles.
But it shouldn't be thrown away.
Right, exactly.
I mean, you should still have vinyl in your home. You should still be... Everyone should have a DJ station in their home, right?
Yes. and a DJ. Yes, that's even possible.
That should be you.
Yeah. You can have, you can have DJ Severe, who DJs for the Dodgers. He can have an app where he DJs for your house at home.
That could help you.
Heck yeah.
Could bring up your cred right there.
Yes.
On top of all this, you got to stay healthy.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just sit forever and ever in front of your computer. You do have to do these walks.
Yeah.
Thank you for walking with me today. This has been great.
Thank you. And interacting with actual humans in real time, too.
Yeah, you
know?
got to look in their eyes.
Yeah.
It's always good to get yourself to symposiums and learn about what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Make sure you look in their eyes to see if they're real.
Yeah. It's you know, like the rest of your body, it degrades over time, and your brain.
No!
I know, it's crazy. Your brain is the same way, right? So you have to make it fire and work.
That's like your walks every day.
Yeah.
Take a different path every day to keep your brain a little challenged.
Right.
Like today, I woke up, I did my work in Europe, and then did a little Canada, did a little New York.
Yeah.
Then I do this walk, do a little lunch, then, you know, make my way through the United States, California, hit China.
You are a global
Do
lady.
a loop. Next
Yeah.
day, same thing.
Yeah, and balance it all together. Because this is, whether or not AI is going to compose music, which it is going to do.
It's going to help humans
Sure.
compose
And
music.
it might take the lower level stuff and automate that because the music.
You know what? You can get fired on one of my shows for using that word. I remember doing a show somewhere. I don't know, it was Starship Troopers or Judge Dredd, something like that.
Yeah.
Where I walked into the compositing room kind of trying to figure out if they needed more compute power. I think Nick Brooks went, "Oh no, this part is automatic." I'm like, "Oh, it's automatic." Right. How does that happen now? Let's explain the automatic part. And that's usually, you know, your first red flag for
Right. Okay. I
person
love
does
red
not
flags.
know what they're talking about.
Right. This is monkey learning where you're just learning it by rote.
Or they're patronizing you. One of the
Oh,
both.
yeah. Well, there's always that.
Right.
Yeah, and it's always great when someone is patronizing you and you're not sure to say, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're not patronizing me.
I don't
checks.
give them warnings.
Oh, no?
No.
You just come at them, huh?
Well, I'm Joan.
Joan. Yes. Joan
This
Collins.
is Joan.
The Joan Collins.
Joan breaking it down.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
the Break It Down Joan show.
Cool.
Oh.
All right.
We've really actually walked pretty far away.
Yeah, we did all right in an hour.
Really.
Now I'm going to sit down and talk to an Olympian, and we're going to talk
You're
about.
going to hope that they actually let you sit.
Well, he's in Montana, so.
Oh, I see.
Yep. So we're going to call him on Skype, my co-host, who's in Northern California, and we're going to do the distance thing. And how great is that to have a conversation recorded?
While the Olympics are happening. You know, I did the
Yeah.
Olympics closing ceremonies in
did you?
1984 here in Los Angeles.
No kidding. So
I also am the one that put the lasers up on the federal building.
Nice.
During that whole thing in the Olympic Village in UCLA.
Yeah. You must know Ron Miziker then.
How you saying the last name?
Miziker, Miziker.
Don't know.
He's been a guest on the show. He does spectacles. So he did
Love.
Yeah. So he's done opening ceremonies. He's done Super Bowl halftime shows.
Oh, well then I love him already.
Yeah. He did he was the Disney guy before there even was a Disney World and everything else.
I mean, really, I like football, but I would rather watch the halftime.
Yeah. Well, he did the Riverboat one in New Orleans way
Nice.
back when, and he was the one that at the Rose Bowl. He's like, no, if you give the audience cards and give them cues, they will put up the right card at the right time.
Yeah. I know, but that's so before last Thursday. We don't do that anymore.
Right. Yeah. But he was the one that made the NFL go, all right, Ron, we trust you. Anyhow, he's a fascinating guy, and he knows. He talked about how do they accomplish that. He's like, I won't tell you how I do my tricks.
Yeah.
You know?
I will. I'll spill the beans because I don't want to do it again.
I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always fascinating to talk to you guys that think without limits and then deliver something that makes us all go, what the heck just happened? You know, and
That's exactly what I just told somebody yesterday. I go,
Yeah.
you know, I want them in the Rose Bowl. I'm not going to actually kill them, but they're going to actually check themselves to see if they're still alive after we do this one thing, and they're going to go, what the fuck was that?
Well, and then the show we just put up today is Jonny Moseley, another gold medalist, and he's doing the freestyle color play-by-play, and he's, Olympians, there's all
Really?
kinds.
I mean, for the Olympics right now?
For reals right now.
Awesome,
He's
awesome.
probably talking right, well, not now, he's probably asleep, but
Get up.
when he talks about freestyle, he's like, there's Olympians who perfect this, moving their hand perfectly every time, and they're perfection. And then there's Johnny, who's like, I want to be rad. I don't want to be perfect. I want to be fast. I want to do all the elements. But when I throw my trick, I want you to go, God damn!
I want to be like him.
Exactly.
Knowing that I can't, but I want to.
And I tend towards that side. I appreciate precision, but I'm moved by amplitude and.
You're gonna love what is coming down the pike.
Oh, I love
from
it.
the John.
That's good. That's
If I
what we're going to
could-
end
if
it
I
right
could-
there.
If I could only tell you.
Well, we'll talk about it once you've done it, right afterwards, so it's still
Awesome.
fresh.